20 years. That's how long Sarah believed she had found her soulmate. 20 years of shared dreams, of building a life together, of believing in a love that would last forever. 20 years of waking up next to someone she thought she knew completely. 20 years of trust, of vulnerability, of opening her heart without reservation. But on a Tuesday morning in March, everything she thought she knew shattered in an instant. Not slowly, not gradually. In one moment, her entire world collapsed. And the worst part? The worst part was that the signs had been there all along. She just hadn't seen them. This is the story of Sarah and Michael, and it's a story about betrayal, so profound, so calculated, that it will make you question everything you think you know about the people closest to you. It started with something simple. Sarah's husband, Michael, left his laptop open while he was in the shower. She wasn't snooping, she was simply going to check their shared calendar for their daughter's school pickup time. She had done this 100 times before. It was routine, innocent, but what she saw on the screen would change her life forever. Michael had been living a double life. For 15 years, half of their marriage, he had been maintaining a secret relationship with a woman named Jennifer. Not just a casual affair, this was a full parallel life. They had shared apartments in 3 different cities. They had taken vacations together. They had made plans for a future that didn't include Sarah or their children. The first thing Sarah noticed was the email address. Michael had created an account under a different name, not his real name, a completely fabricated identity. She clicked on the email and started scrolling. Hundreds of messages, thousands of messages, years of correspondence with Jennifer. Her hands were shaking. She couldn't breathe. She read emails where Michael told Jennifer he loved her, where he made promises to her, where he planned a future with her. She read travel confirmations for trips she never knew about, hotels in cities she'd never been to, restaurants where they dined together while Sarah was home with the children. Then she found the photographs, Michael and Jennifer together, smiling, happy, in places that looked like vacations, like romantic getaways. She found receipts for jewelry, expensive jewelry, jewelry she'd never seen, jewelry that was meant for someone else. The betrayal wasn't just the affair itself, it was the meticulous deception. Michael had created fake business trips. He had created an entire false narrative about his work schedule. He would tell Sarah he was traveling for client meetings, for conferences, for business development opportunities. And while Sarah was home managing the household, managing their children, managing their life, Michael was in hotel rooms with Jennifer. He had opened bank accounts Sarah knew nothing about, accounts that received deposits from a shell company he'd created. Money that should have gone to their family's future had been funneled into his secret life. He had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Jennifer, on hotels, on travel, on gifts, on experiences. He had even created a separate phone, a phone that Sarah never knew about, a phone that he kept hidden, a phone that contained years of intimate conversations with another woman. When Sarah discovered this, she felt something shift inside her. The shock gave way to a different emotion: clarity, rage, determination. She continued scrolling through the emails. She found messages where Michael discussed their marriage with Jennifer, where he told her that he felt trapped, that he felt unfulfilled, that he was only staying with Sarah for the children, that he was planning to eventually leave Sarah and build a life with Jennifer instead. He had been planning this for years. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated, deliberate betrayal. Every lie had been carefully constructed. Every deception had been planned with precision. Michael had been living 2 completely separate lives, maintaining 2 completely separate identities for 15 years. And the most devastating part? Jennifer wasn't even the only one. As Sarah continued scrolling, she found evidence of other women, other relationships, other affairs. Michael had been juggling multiple relationships simultaneously. He had been a master of deception. When Sarah heard the shower turn off, she closed the laptop. She sat on the edge of the bed, her heart pounding, her mind racing. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know how to process what she'd just discovered. Michael came out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, completely unaware that his entire world was about to change. "We need to talk," Sarah said quietly. Michael's face went pale. He knew. Somehow he knew. "What's wrong?" he asked, but his voice betrayed him. He was afraid. Sarah told him what she'd found. She told him about the emails, about the photographs, about the bank accounts, about Jennifer, about the other women. Michael's first instinct wasn't to apologize. It wasn't to beg for forgiveness. It was to minimize. He told her she was overreacting. He said it didn't mean anything. He claimed Jennifer was just a distraction, that his real life was with Sarah. He said he had been going through something, that he had made mistakes, but that it was all in the past. But Sarah had already done the math. 15 years wasn't a distraction. 15 years was a choice. A choice he made every single day, every single morning when he woke up next to her and lied about where he was going. Every single evening when he came home and pretended to be the man she thought he was. "How long?" Sarah asked. "It doesn't matter," Michael said. "How long?" Sarah repeated, her voice steady and cold. 15 years? Michael finally admitted. "But Sarah, She didn't let him finish. She walked out of the bedroom and locked herself in the guest room. She spent that entire night researching. She found the shell company, she found the bank accounts, she found the credit card statements, she found the hotel reservations, she found the airline tickets, she found everything. What made this betrayal even more painful was that Sarah had sacrificed everything for their marriage. She had left her career when their first child was born. She had been a successful marketing executive before that. She had had dreams of her own. But when the baby came, Michael had encouraged her to stay home. He said he wanted her to focus on the children. He said he could provide for the family. So she did. She left her career. She became the primary caregiver. She managed the household. She supported Michael's career. She was the emotional anchor of their family. While she was home with the children, managing their education, managing their activities, managing their lives, Michael was building another life entirely. And the financial implications were staggering. Michael had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his secret life. Money that should have gone to their children's education, money that should have gone to their retirement, money that should have been invested in their family's future. Sarah had given up her career. She had given up her independence. She had given up her financial security. She had given up her identity. And in return, she had received lies. But here's where this story takes a turn that most people don't expect. Sarah didn't fall apart. She didn't beg Michael to stay. She didn't try to fix the marriage. She didn't cry or scream or rage. Instead, she became strategic. She documented everything, every email, every photograph, every bank statement, every hotel reservation, every airline ticket. She created a comprehensive file of evidence. She hired a forensic accountant to trace all of Michael's hidden assets. She hired a divorce attorney, one of the best in the state, and then she waited. She didn't confront Michael again. She didn't tell him what she was doing. She simply waited and gathered more evidence. She monitored his activities. She documented his continued deception. She found more affairs. She found more hidden accounts. She found more evidence of his betrayal. Michael, meanwhile, had no idea what was coming. He thought Sarah would eventually forgive him. He thought they would go to marriage counseling and work things out. He thought he could minimize his way out of this situation, just like he had minimized everything else in his life. He was wrong. When Sarah finally filed for divorce, she had an airtight case. Michael tried to hide assets, but Sarah had already found them. He tried to claim he deserved custody of their teenage children, but the evidence of his neglect and deception made that impossible. He tried to negotiate a favorable settlement, but Sarah's attorney had already documented every penny he had spent on his secret life. The divorce proceedings lasted 18 months. During that time, Michael's secret life unraveled completely. Jennifer discovered that Michael had been seeing another woman as well. She was devastated. She confronted him. She left him. Michael's employer found out about the fake business trips. They discovered that he had been conducting company business from hotel rooms instead of the office. They discovered that he had been using company resources to fund his secret life. They fired him. His family learned the truth about his betrayal. His parents were ashamed. His siblings were angry. Most of them sided with Sarah. They couldn't believe what Michael had done. They couldn't believe how he had lied to everyone for so long. In the end, Sarah received primary custody of their children. She received the family home. She received a substantial settlement that accounted for all of Michael's hidden assets. The court ordered Michael to pay significant child support and alimony. But more importantly, Sarah reclaimed her life. After the divorce was finalized, Sarah did something remarkable. She went back to school, she earned her MBA, she started her own business, she built a career on her own terms, she became financially independent, she became emotionally independent, she became the person she had always wanted to be. 5 years after the divorce, Sarah ran into Michael at a grocery store. He barely recognized her. She had transformed, confident, successful, genuinely happy. She had lost weight. She had changed her hair. She had a light in her eyes that hadn't been there before. She was radiant. Michael, by contrast, looked broken. He had aged 10 years in 5. Jennifer had left him when she discovered his other affairs. His career never recovered. He had struggled to find employment. He was living alone in a small apartment. He looked like a shadow of the man he had pretended to be. He tried to approach her. He tried to apologize. He tried to explain that he had been going through something, that he had made mistakes, that he was sorry. But Sarah simply smiled and walked away. She didn't need his apology. She had already moved on. She had already healed. She had already built a new life. This story teaches us something profound about betrayal. When you build your life on lies, when you construct an entire false reality to hide your true nature, you don't just hurt the people you claim to love. You ultimately destroy yourself. The energy required to maintain that deception, to live that double life, eventually consumes you. It eats you from the inside out. It destroys your relationships. It destroys your career. It destroys your reputation. It destroys your life. Sarah's story also shows us the power of responding to betrayal with intelligence rather than emotion. She didn't seek revenge in the traditional sense. She didn't try to hurt Michael the way he hurt her. She didn't try to destroy him. Instead, she simply documented the truth and let the truth speak for itself. And the truth was devastating enough. 20 years of marriage ended because of one man's choice to live a lie. But Sarah's story didn't end there. It was a beginning of a life built on authenticity, on her own terms, on truth. And that perhaps is the greatest revenge. Not destruction, but transformation. If you've experienced betrayal like Sarah's, you know how devastating it can be. But you also know that recovery is possible. Subscribe to Betrayal Exposed for more stories of deception revealed and justice served. Because in the end, the truth always comes out.